Let's jump to the war here, and today I'm going to be going over the hotfix for 6.1.2. I don't normally go over hotfix patch notes unless they're substantial and interesting, and I feel like this one here is, and that's why I'm going over it. So this is going to primarily focus on Kislev, just like the main 6.1 patch. There are some Zinch stuff in there as well, but I haven't played Zinch since well before 6.1, so I'm really not going to focus on that at all. The Katerin campaign that I played in the premiere video from like a week ago, I've been playing that in my own time, so I'm up to turn 47 now. By the way, I've been cheesing like crazy, so it'll be pretty much unrecognizable from what you guys saw on turn 27. But I have been continuing it and playing it prior to patch 6.1.2. So what we'll do is we'll go over a particular change and then have a look at it in the campaign itself and see what the impact is. And I gave some feedback on the Kislev rework on the Katerin campaign review, specifically focusing on the devotion side of things, because on legendary difficulty, that mechanic just basically you just don't get to play with it until later on in the campaign, unless you go and capture the Chaos Waste stuff, as long as you've also got the associated Ice Court and Orthodoxy boon. But anyway, we'll get into that in a bit. So yeah, we'll go over that stuff there. So anyway, also let me know in the comments below what campaign you'd like me to do next for like the big premiere. Because I overall got very positive feedback with you guys from that video. I definitely intend to do more. I'm probably going to record the next campaign video tomorrow. So let me know if you want me to play any particular campaign. I'm currently leaning towards Balthazar Geld. If that's not what you want me to do, then just let me know. Now, a few people will probably say, continue Katerin. That's not going to happen. The reason for that is because at the end of that turn 27, there were no real challenges left. Like the past 20 turns that I've been playing in my own time, which I've got a backup save, which I could just show you in a moment. It wouldn't be an interesting episode. It'd be 8 hours of me just absolutely rolling over the enemy, even if I'm not as hardcore cheesing as I usually do. Because we had defeated Arbal, we had defeated Astrogoth Iron Hand. There were a few enemies on the border, but they've all got armies there ready to deal with them. Azag is being wiped out. Surely there's vampire counts that have to be dealt with, but honestly, I found them pretty easy to deal with because I dragged everyone at war with them, and they just got rolled over so fast it wasn't even funny. So it's really not going to be an issue. Anyway, let's go over the highlights here. So Kislev, based on your feedback and reviews by our design team, we've made adjustments to balance building, tiering, and tech to Kislev to improve your overall gameplay experience. So I also want to highlight this point within the highlights here, how quickly they're getting to player feedback. So the 6.1 patch, what was that? Less than 2 weeks ago now? And they're already on their second hotfix, and they're addressing issues that people are specifically talking about in the forums. So they're definitely listening to feedback and making adjustments based on that. This is such a huge contrast compared to what we had in 2022 and 2023, where people were screaming at them to make certain changes, and they were just completely no, we're not making any adjustments. All we're doing is focusing on DLC, and you get a patch every DLC cycle, basically. You remember how Nakai the Wanderer couldn't recruit Croxagors for like 6 fucking months? Another case in point is the Warriors of Chaos rework. As much as that is a great rework, there was huge bugs that were basically not addressed until very recently, and these things just get left alone for a really long time. But now it seems, post all the drama in 2023, that their attitude is to basically, if they make a change and it's not what you guys want to see, they make a quick adjustment to it. So it's really important that you guys continue providing honest feedback to Creative Assembly. Post in the official forums where you need to. Other YouTubers make videos on issues that you see, and these things get addressed. So it's really good to see here. All the fighting that we did against Creative Assembly, railing against them in 2023, I feel like this is what we got as a reward for it, and I'm okay with it. I hope you guys are as well, because I feel like we fought pretty damn hard for it. Anyway, Zinch, Kara's Fate Weaver has received a number of skill fixes and adjustments. I'm not going to focus on this because I just haven't played Zinch, so I got no context to compare it to. Balancing of bugs, a fresh batch of bug fixes and additional balance adjustments. Cool, we'll go through some of those as well. So they're also mentioning things that they haven't yet sorted out. So mod manager, yeah, I heard that 6.1 caused a huge problem for mods. Which definitely is a problem, because I would say that if I had to guess, I'd say 50% of people at least play with at least one mod that still play Total Warhammer 3. So yeah, that is important that they get on top of that as soon as possible. But it hasn't affected me personally because I don't put on mods most of the time. Issues surrounding the display of enemy movement range in previews in campaign. Definitely noticed that straight away in 6.1. I didn't like that change. I'm glad that they're acknowledging that that's actually an issue and they want to revert to it, revert to what it was before. But yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm just glad that they're sorting that out. Court and Orthodoxy becomes significantly more difficult to balance after confederating your opponent. Okay, so I assumed that would be the case from just playing it for 5 minutes, which is why I never bothered to confederate the Orthodoxy and why I tried so hard to keep them alive, because, yeah, basically what I do is I drag the Orthodoxy, because I'm playing as the Ice Court, I drag the Orthodoxy into any wars that I want them to be at war with, so that I can balance things out as much as I possibly can. Like, I don't drag them into every war, just whenever they're falling behind, I'm like, come and join my war, and I'll just increase the influence that way by fighting this enemy. But if I confederated them, I wouldn't be able to do that, and I'd have to basically slow down on fighting chaos in order to not let the Ice Court go way out of control. But yeah, so I never encountered this problem, but I recognize that it would have been a problem. Reports of support stuck at 100 and not receiving boons. I have not encountered that one. That would suck. I haven't encountered that one. Matriarchal power achievement not unlockable using new invocations. Oh yeah, I saw that. I already had that achievement, so that didn't affect me. And also, I don't bother with achievement hunting. But yeah, that they should probably fix that. Performance. So resolve an issue causing potential frame stuttering on certain machines. I didn't encounter any frame stuttering, but I got a pretty high-end rig, apart from my processor, which it's a high-end processor. It's just a shit high-end processor because it's Intel. I've already had to replace it twice, so I'm on my third one now. But anyway, this last one, hey, it's lasted 4 months, which is 4 times as much as the other ones lasted. Fix possible crash in the end battle screen. I was definitely encountering this one. This was happening all the damn time. In fact, I actually thought for a moment that my processor was dying, because that was what was happening when it was the other processors that I had when they were dying. That was what was happening. So I did some tests on other games, noticing they weren't crashing, and then realized, oh, it's just Total War Warhammer 3. Right, fair enough. it's just Total War Warhammer 3 being Total War Warhammer 3. So I'm glad they're fixing that. I had a temporary fix for it. I noticed that if I got into the game and then immediately got out of the game and then got back into the game again, it would buy me a couple of hours before the crash would happen again. Whereas if the crash happened and I got back into the game and just started playing, it would usually happen again pretty quickly. So I don't know why exactly that happens. It's just like it was Band-Aid solution, but it'd be good if that is actually fixed. Fixed crash that was occurring when loading the game. Well, that's really the same thing, because yeah, it was happening when loading up a battle and when a battle was ending both times. And just randomly, it would seem. Fixed crash that would occur when completing Ritual of Rebirth. I haven't been doing any Wood Elf stuff, so I don't know. Fixed the crash when accessing Ice Court. I haven't encountered that one. Fixed the crash when... But still, that's good they fixed it. Fixed the crash caused by loading save containing the tier 3. Yeah, I didn't load any old save files, so that wasn't encountered by me, but good they're getting on top of that. Okay, so go on to the Kislev balance tweaks. Devotion adjustments. Alright, this is what we really want to focus on, because I must have focused about half of the Kislev campaign review on the devotion, because that was the thing that most irked me. It was like there was a mechanic that I just basically couldn't feasibly access without putting in more effort than it was worth the rewards. Lowered the requirement for using invocation to 25 plus devotion. Still costs 50 devotion to perform an invocation. So this will definitely help, I think, on very hard campaign difficulty, but I feel like on legendary difficulty this might still be an issue. In the earlier stages of the campaign, you're probably still not going to get those invocations early on, because the amount of devotion that you can generate, it's hard to get it even above 0 because of that -8 penalty. Just getting it to the point where you're overcoming that alone can be challenging. Just because there's just not enough options to do so. Getting it to plus 25 will still happen a lot sooner than plus 50, which was prior. In fact, the campaign that I'm going to show you soon, I only just started getting to the point with some of our provinces that I was getting to plus 50. And guess what? I was putting in a lot of friggin' effort into that. In fact, why don't we go into it now, okay? So, over here, 4 turns ago, I did the Invocation of Saliak. So I was already at turn 4. I have an ataman there. And you can see here, I've got quite a lot of devotion buildings put in. And I'm at that point, and I've got the devotion in here. And I got like all the global bonuses for stuff. and I only really just managed to get it to this point recently. Plus, I also had these hag witches. They provide 1 devotion in the province. I've had them going around province to province trying to get devotion going up. Now, here's the thing. Getting this growth one here specifically wasn't really going to provide a ton of value because I already got it to tier 4 before then, so getting it earlier would be a lot better. However, when you start capturing the Chaos Waste, if you've got, I can't remember which one it is, it's one of these over here. No, it's not that one, is it this one? Spiritual Conquest. If you get this one here, Devotion plus 100 for newly captured settlements in chaotic wasteland climates. So if we come up over this way, when I captured this region here, it went straight away to 100. And so I was able, actually this one's the first one I captured, so I was able to put down an invocation straight away over here. I actually put an army invocation and a settlement invocation, which is why that's got that chaotic wasteland is coming back. But these ones over here, at least they've got their chaotic stuff has been, you don't have the chaotic climate there because it's been negated thanks to capturing these regions. Obviously, you can see that there's quite a bit of cheese going on. I've got a lot of territory for turn 47. Like I say a lot, when I do campaigns for your entertainment, I kind of put my hands behind my back and go, I'm not going to do all the cheese that I know how to do, just because I know most people will vomit in their mouth and go, this is bullshit, I'm not watching this. And I need you guys to be entertained. So I usually don't do a lot of it. But when you're not looking, holy fuck do I cheese. I just want to do it all the time. And I just know loads and loads of exploits that just never got fixed. And so I just go bananas on the campaign as soon as you guys aren't looking. And that's basically what's happened here. So you look at me like, oh, but your economy's so bad. Yeah, but I'm like, look at my money. It's only because I've got 28 armies, on turn 47. Which, by the way, this is pretty mid for me. But anyway, that's because the first 27 turns I wasn't cheesing too hard. But anyway. And also the diplomacy bullshit that I've been pulling off. Pretty crazy stuff. But anyway, talking about the actual invocation changes. So if we have a look over here, so previously, so if this was patch 6.1.1, I wouldn't be able to do an invocation here at Kislev because I was pushing it towards getting here, but it was just taking too long, and it was already pretty close to getting to tier 5 anyway. But now that I've loaded up the patch, I'm immediately able to pop down any of these here. Now let's just see if I do the Celiac one, if it's going to make any difference to getting that any sooner. Woo! It saves off a single turn from to get that one done. That's good, because here's another problem as well, right? Some of these invocations are really good if they're frontier settlements, but how the fuck are you supposed to get your devotion up on frontier settlements? So obviously we've had Kislev the entirety of the campaign, and it's got an ataman in there. And I only just got it to plus 25. And these ones were sitting in there for a little bit as well before I was like, I'm not really getting any real value out of that. So I moved on to Prague to see if I could get an invocation over here in time. Which we'll get into some of the stuff going on with Prague, because as you can see, I've built the ataman building, which has also added an adjustment. Anyway, so the changes are definitely good for the devotion. It's a step in the right direction. I think the real issue here is the difficulty level -8 for public order on legendary difficulty, and the fact that most buildings only provide such a small amount of devotion. And I get that they've also now added devotion to the main settlement building, to the garrison building, but it's like +3 here, +2 there, plus it's not substantial, and you have to overcome so much public order in order to get to this point. And also, there aren't a hell of a lot of devotion increasing followers. There's bailiff, and then I think there's vodka distiller, and that's about it. So there's just not. What they could do is maybe buff some of these followers a little bit, so that your atamans can provide even more value in terms of devotion, especially this one here, Iron Disciplinarian, +4. Maybe if that was +8, it'd make it on legendary difficulty more likely that your invocations will be applied on regions that have atamans. It would make a lot more sense if that is the case there. And it would also make sense to put them in the frontier settlements as well. Usually now I just put them in my safe provinces, so that the ataman is nice and safe. And then just wait a really long time until they get there. It's not worth leaving an army in these settlements here to maintain public order. So I do think some adjustments still need to be done, and those are sort of my suggestions there. Just basically buff up the possible ways that you can increase public order, whether it be by global bonuses or by followers or their traits, something like that. All these buildings here, you know, the max tier buildings, just I've got one built in every single one. Well, that one doesn't provide any, but I've built multiple of them, and it's just not providing a hell of a lot of devotion. That's all. Okay, back to the patch notes. So once again, spending a lot of time on that one. But that one's important, I think, because that's the most janky part of the rework. Because if you look back at Legendary difficulty from before the rework, like on turn 1, you can do an invocation because you've got enough devotion. And it's a global effect and it will last 10 turns. And on Legendary difficulty, the first time I ever did an invocation now was turn 42. And that was after me starting to cheese the shit out of the game as well, trying to get the public order. Like, I had 5 fucking hag witches in there maintaining public order. That's, you know, those characters, you have to pay them a fair bit of money in order to do that, especially with that supply line stuff. Anyway, moving on. Kislev building and tiering adjustment. The Ice Guard recruitment building has been collapsed into one single building, then at tier 4, providing access to both Ice Guard variants and Frost Maidens. Okay, so I was constructing that at... Actually, no, I wasn't. Let me have a look here then. Okay, so they didn't adjust it here, but so they did adjust it here. So there used to be a building on top of that, now it's just at tier 4. Cool. Alright, well, that's good. So yeah, increasing the hero capacity at tier 4. Well, the thing is, you can actually increase it at tier 3, in any minor settlement even, because you've got access to this. So that would have been really useful prior to the rework. It's still a good change, but I feel like the impact of that it's like, not that big. I guess it's really about getting access to Ice Guard a little bit earlier. Okay, back to the patch notes, but overall, that's a good change. Kislevite cultural capital defense buildings have been combined. Okay, that's a good one. That being said, I never built any of them anyway. So that would be this structure here. So there used to be 2 different defensive structures, and now there's just one. That's great, yeah, but obviously didn't build it because it's not a frontier settlement anymore. It's also good to see that these buildings here increase devotion and also increase the experience per turn for atamans. That's also good. I didn't build it just for that alone. But anyway, back to the patch notes. But overall, good change. Watch Patrol building chain has been removed. All the benefit, yeah, it says it just merged it. Kislev war buildings now also generate small amounts of devotion. Yep, we saw that. Ataman experience adjustments, yeah, because I feel like they were growing fairly slowly. Well, still, it was fine, but growing them a bit quicker is good. So, significantly increased experience granted by defense buildings for atamans, major settlements, minor settlements, Kislevite cultural wars. Double the experience granted by resource buildings. Okay, so we've got plenty of those, so go check that out. So this one over here. So Iron previously provided 150 experience per turn. Let's see, this guy here is rank 10, and he needs 2,800 experience. It does take quite a few turns for this building here. You know, rank 10 is not super high level, for it to provide even a single level up. But that just, you know, it is what it is. It also helps if you don't accidentally get your atamans killed by selling off a region. But luckily, they've now fixed that. So we'll get to that in the patch notes eventually. Ataman's Estate. Okay, I did actually build this. So Ataman's Estate, XP per turn from 800 to 1,000. Income modifier went from negative 100% to negative 50. Additionally, no longer completely disables income. Starting supplies for sieges. Okay, so I built that at Prague. As you can see here, I turned off the taxes because whether I turned it on or off previously, it wasn't providing any taxes. So now I might as well grab half the money, I guess. So yeah, it's just reducing it by 50%. But if we have a look here, we're actually only reduced it by 1% because there's lots of global bonuses that affect it, and they weren't affecting it previously. So I must have like 49% of global bonuses and then minus 50% of penalties. So yeah, that is way more economically viable now to build. And yeah, I have been building this for the experience. I basically use it as a training ground for new atamans, and I've been getting the trait Masterful Governance, which you've got like I don't know, it seems like it's about a 25% chance of getting it. Get it pretty often, which provides some benefits, devotion, growth. Seems like that +4 growth is pretty shit. Like +4 growth isn't going to make any difference whatsoever, really. It's just like a lot of really small bonuses, except for income from all buildings +5% is good. Reduce corruption. Enemy hero action success chance. That's very good. And the devotion +3. Maybe that's one way that they could fix the devotion issue from legendary difficulty. Make Masterful Governance, maybe make it a bit better than this. Because, yeah, it's just not super impactful. Did the guy down here have that? I can't remember. No, I didn't. I haven't got it for him yet because I've only built that one building here, and you can only build it in the provincial capitals, cultural capitals, and I don't have Erengrad yet because I don't want to confederate the what's it called, the Orthodoxy. Otherwise, I won't be able to generate battles against Orthodoxy enemies this turn 1,000. So you know, there's a bit of an exploit with that because you get 100. You get 10 XP per lord that participates. So basically, I've got a bunch of 4 lords hovering around any potential armies in order to generate as much Orthodoxy and Ice Court support as I possibly can. Also, a thing I've noticed, the Fickle Motherland, right? So we get this, it triggered for me at 22, I think it was, when you get to tier 22 for either of them. 50% support gained from fighting the enemies of the Ice Court and Orthodoxy. But it only applied to the Orthodoxy, so I get 15 per lord per battle, but it didn't make any adjustments whatsoever to the Ice Court, so maybe it was a bit bugged with that one. But then again, I haven't tested it with patch 6.1.2, so we'll have to wait and see if that makes any adjustments there. Anyway, overall, happy with that change. I mean, I thought that the Ataman's estate was like a pretty meh for value building. I was building it just because, it's there. Prague's not a huge money maker, but yeah, it was not that big of a deal. But that's definitely a lot more incentive to build it there now. I think one issue with the Kislevite cultural settlements is that there's so many potential buildings, and you've still got quite a limited number of build slots, even though there's got 10. It's still not a huge amount. You just can't get everything, and there's some things that are obviously better than others, especially when you consider just how many landmarks there are, and there's just no point building something that's less value than anything else. Then some ogre tier adjustments. Let's just move over on that one. So fixed bug where Atamans were lost forever if they were injured in battle, or you lost or traded the city that they were based in. They can now be correctly re-recruited. Ugh, that Ataman that we lost at Prague, I still won't be able to get him back because he's like proper dead. But yeah, that's a good change. But also, maybe just move the Ataman out of the way before you sell the settlements, and that could have saved it. Noblar Flingers no longer start at 10% health in garrisons of turn 1 campaigns. Okay. Royal Asgardian technology for Kislev now correctly provides upkeep reduction for armies led by Ice Witches instead of Frost Maidens. That's pretty funny. I actually haven't researched that one, so I hadn't encountered it yet. While Yuri's journey is certainly a struggle, we didn't mean to cut his tech tree down to just the struggle category. Right, I see. Yeah, sometimes they'll just completely forget about an aspect of the game. I mean, I didn't check Yuri's journey. So that's the prologue campaign. Kislev will no longer generate several outdated missions. That's good they've changed that, but I don't think it was a massive issue, because you always just like hit the delete button on it, make the mission go away. You just, obviously, it's impossible to actually complete them anymore, that's all. Fixed a bug in post-battle screen where mass visual artifacing would occur, subsequently filled with black space covering the area. I'm not sure if I've encountered that one. I've definitely had some visual effects, but I'm not sure if that one specifically. Added a cost element on tooltips for provincial devotion rituals. Okay, that's good. Added the ritual buttons in Kislev province. Sorry, the ritual buttons in Kislev province invocation UI are now correctly disabled when devotion is spent for a force invocation and falls below the required threshold. Okay, Kairos Gaze to the Pass. Okay, just skip over that. Court adjustment trait for Ice Witches and Frost Maidens now give +2 Ice Court support. I'm pretty sure I was getting Court Agents. Let me just check. I'm pretty sure that's what I was getting. So I just gotta find someone. Catarin's over here.
Your magic is
So I think,
formidable.
yeah, I got a few here. I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's have a look. Maybe it hasn't adjusted yet. Do I have one going on over here? Was it just for the Lord, not the Maiden? Could that be it? Hang on, let me just have a look, because that one... Obviously, I recruited these prior to... Yeah, they've all got it. Because, you know, just get whatever you want. So, but is it just the Lords? Okay, I've got a Ice Witch Lord over here. I got 2 of them. I'm pretty sure they both have it. Court Agent. Okay, it updates it for existing characters. It's only for the Ice Witch Lord, not for the Ice Witch Hero. Because, yeah, otherwise... Because that definitely wasn't there before. So, that's good. I mean, I'm happy with that. Cool. And you can see I was using 4 Lords all at once there to make an attack. So that way you generate lots of influence. with them. Okay, and wait, hang on, we were back here. All right, cool. Kislev will no longer randomly gain and lose access to invocations in gates, forts, bastions. These settlements do not have public order or devotion. I never encountered that. I do actually have a gate, but I never was able to put an invocation on them. Maybe I just wasn't checking. Kislev technology common cause now correctly limits units that are between rank 0 and rank 3. Okay, no big deal. I never even bothered to check that one. UI, UX stuff, I'm just going to skip over that one. Oh, hang on. Fire resistance and fire weakness now follow the new visual pattern we implemented in 6.1 with positive values appearing in green. Oh, okay, cool. Alright, and some more stuff here. So, Kislev unit integration added some more technology support for action and ambushes. Troll Country Pathfinder now provides 10% range for action and ambushes. Alright, let's go check that out then. So that's here. Yeah, so there we go. Extra range for action and ambushes. Cool. I got no issues with that. That sounds good. Leather treatment technology also applies to Griffin Legion units. Alright, let's go check that one. That's under here. I haven't researched it. So missile resistance. Oh, really? So they were missing out on that 10% missile resistance? I didn't even notice. Okay, well, that's a good change, I guess. Dwarven Anvil technology now applies to horse archers. Alright, let's check that one. Dwarven Anvils. Oh, this is the one I was complaining about as well, saying that it was... Oh, hang on. Oh, that's not what I was researching. I'll have to put it back to what I was doing, which was... Doesn't matter. So that was Dwarven Anvils here. Yeah, I was complaining this was not a very high impact technology. Yeah, getting 10 extra armor for the horse archers, that would make them better for sure. Like I was saying in the previous video when I was talking about it, plus 10 armor is not hugely impactful for units that already have above 100 armor. Not a big deal. It's just not a very impactful tech because most units in the game have, especially in the late stage of the game, have quite a lot of armor piercing, so just bypass. Armor is one of the most bypassable stats in the game. Anyway, so just like plus 10 is just not that much. And then Common Steel Orthodoxy Boon, recruit rank bonus 5 to 3. Oh yeah, that's fair enough. That one was super bloody busted. Not busted, but it's just overpowered, being able to recruit like rank 9 Kossars super early on. And now Kislevite warriors are affected by it as well, so that's cool. Anyway, the past and future... Oh yeah, I'm not going to about Kairos. Like I said, not going to focus on it. It's cool if you care about it, but I just don't care. Mainly focus on the Kislev stuff. Fixed issue... Yeah, I guess I saw that kind of stuff happening before. Gorbad Ironclaw no longer takes penalties for being in a forest while on foot. I don't care about Gorbad. Law of Hags is now affected by spell intensity modifiers. I know some people were complaining about it. Omens of Spirits is exempt to prevent it recursively increasing its own intensity. Yeah, that would be interesting to see that happen. Like, you can cast a spell and maybe the intensity just keeps going up. But surely it would cap at 200. But I don't know. Several minor adjustments to Regiments of Renown that were not in parity with... Okay, don't really care that much about that. Okay, so that's that. I don't think I missed anything there. I think there's a pretty damn good patch there. Not hugely impactful. I do think that they need to have another crack at the devotion stuff, rather than decreasing the capacity for, the minimum threshold for it. Getting more options to increase public order, either globally or through followers or through traits, would be really handy, because like with this province here specifically, I really was trying to do just about everything I possibly could. And like I said, turn 40, it would have been turn, 43, 44? 43, that I first did the invocation. It feels like it's pretty late, especially when it had been secured for such a long time. I never lost any of these regions. Oh wait, no, I did sell them off at some point, but that's, Draco on the border. That being said, this was the first time doing a invocation in Kislev, and Kislev has never been under threat. We've had it for the entire campaign, it was never attacked, and the public order was just basically impossible to get it to plus 50 up until... Actually, it wasn't even at that point. We did it just then because of it was at plus 25. So I do hope that they take just another crack at it, make a few adjustments. Because yeah, if they make it to plus 20, make it apply at 0, that could work as well. I just think it'd be more impactful for the gameplay if there's more that the player can do to actually affect public order, as opposed to letting this -8 difficulty penalty basically dictate whether or not it's going to happen. That would be good. It could also be good if they got rid of the difficulty level public order penalty, or maybe adjust it a little bit, because it's a really stupid difficulty penalty to apply, because it doesn't really cause revolts, and revolts aren't necessarily bad either. It depends on the situation. It's just the way that public order works is very silly, so I do think they need to take another crack at it. But anyway, that's the end of this one here. Overall, I'm pretty happy with patch 6.1.2. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of it, and also let me know which campaign you would like me to cover next. As I said, currently leaning towards Balthazar Gelt, but you have the power to change my mind. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Later, guys.